Well, just like every year since 1992 when the Tour Auto was reborn, Paris was once again the setting for the final technical preparations before the star event in historical rally racing. More than 20 nationalities were represented this year in what's now become the Tour Auto-Lissac, with the famous optical glass manufacturer taking over sponsorship of the event. Is the organizer, Patrick Peter, talking. He said, well, 220 cars will take off tomorrow. Cars which participated in the event's contemporary version between 1951 and 1973, plus a few more recent models from the 80s. Over the next 5 days, we'll head for Saint-Tropez, take part in some road racing with 5 circuits, each representing one of the particularities of the Tour Auto, and 8 specials too. Le Mans, Le Vigeant, Nogaro, Albi, Le Denon are on the circuit agenda this year. The specials will be held on closed roads at a rate of 1 to 2 specials a day. Well, the Tour Auto is also a perfect opportunity to admire some rare specimens. This year, there's a Ligier JS1, Porsches, of course, including a 910, and some Ford GT40s like the one belonging to Charles and Mountford, winners for the last 2 years. And there are lots of Ferraris as well as a slew of Alpine Berlinettes. Well, as for the drivers, there are some legendary motor racing icons signed on, like Danny Sullivan, Jean Ragnotti, Jean-Claude Androuet, Eric Coma, and Sir Sterling Moss.
For me, this has got the greatest atmosphere.
It's so unique that you can come to a country like France with fantastic roads.
C'est d'abord un spectacle. Alors, quand il y a des spectacles, ça veut dire que le pilote s'amuse et que le public s'amuse.
It's very popular and followed in the magazines in England.
Moi, j'aime bien varier les plaisirs et les épreuves, voilà.
Un parking extraordinaire ici sur le Trocadéro, avec des voitures très différentes.
Well, with more than 2,000 kilometers to run, the Tour Auto calls for some serious preparation. All of the participants are very happy to see each other again, and there's a good, clean fun in the feeling that makes this event so special. Well, on Tuesday, April the 20th, things get started. It's off to Le Mans for the first special and some city street racing before hitting the Bugatti circuit to put everyone's mettle to the test. Things are to get started at Blaivy-Saint-Onge, and for everyone present, it's time to put out the feelers. Some do that better than others, as you can see, but for some participants like Pierre Dutroisy, this is called just doing your homework.
Il y a plein d'huile dedans.
He said, well, we've had some trouble with the ignition coil when a stud fell out. I am now going to try to start her up.
Mettre du scotch pour pas que ça n'aille. Vu qu'il y a du scotch.
Tiens, c'est quoi ça, production?
Ah bah ouais, c'est plus longtemps.
Ah oui. C'est bizarre que ça sorte comme ça. Tiens.
Ça sert l'expérience. Ah ouais. Bon, bah c'est reparti, faut arrêter la course, on redémarre.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais là?
Vas-y, prends le côté, c'est commencé comme ça.
On reprend à zéro, on dit qu'on a rien.
Vous pouvez arrêter la course, s'il vous plaît?
Well, as for the others, these first laps seem like some pretty tough stuff, and that's like with Christopher Childs. We almost thought the two-time winner wasn't actually going to make it.
It's, I think, about the third corner into the stage on the bridge, which is a very sharp right-hander. You come down a hill and it's a very sharp right-hander into a bridge. And unfortunately, I have really race tyres on, not road tyres. And they weren't warm enough, so when I came to brake, they wouldn't grip. So there was just no grip, and I had to spin the car.
Onto the Le Mans circuit then, and it's time to rehash some very good times.
Oui, bah là, des souvenirs, attendez, il faut que vous restiez longtemps avec moi.
Jean-Claude André saying, well, I've got lots of memories. You'd have to stick around a long time to hear them all. You know, I've driven at Le Mans 20 times, winning in 1972 in a Ferrari in the Grand Touring category with Claude Ballolena. And the cars, even here this year, it's a sentimental thing, but we really should get together more often. But I just say, I've got lots of memories here from Le Mans. Luckily, there wasn't that much red mist descending on the driving when they eventually got out onto the track. The race is divided up per category. 3 competition categories and 2 run for fun categories. In competition racing, the cars are ranked by their position crossing the finish line. In the run for fun category, the drivers have to fix their own average speed and stick to it.
Hello.
But regardless of the category, you really see some tight competition out there on the Bugatti circuit. Some of the duels end in a bit of mayhem, and that's the case for Richard Means, who finds his GT40 goes out of order. There's the incident, and here's what Means himself had to say after the accident.
Well, I was trying to push a little bit because I qualified it a bit because my door was open qualifying, and unfortunately I came around, and I think one of my rear tyres was on the curb, and the car just stepped out very quickly. I mean, and I just couldn't get it back. And
big damage.
Big damage, yeah.
Well, driving's of differing standards, if you've been able to see that. But next it's time for the other categories to get things started. Back in the run for fun racing, it's a good time to admire some very rare machines like the Seat Dyna SL, a regular here at the Tour Auto events. After the race, it's always nice to kick up your heels at the Château de Lude. What with racing, travelling and gastronomy, the Tour Auto is a pleasurable experience that just can't be rushed.
Nous allons sur Tours. Oui, nous faisons étape.
Vous avez fait le tour du circuit Bugatti?
Voilà, exactement. Ouais, je vois que vous connaissez les questions.
On habite à 40 km du Mans.
Oui.
On connaît quand même un peu notre région.
So the first day ends in the city of Tours, and it's time for the first results for this 2004 version to come in. But before they do, it's time for all of the cars to come and take up a position. and have a little chat amongst the drivers about how they'd done during the day's racing.
Nous, on est passé dessus et Poulain, il a pris la première. Faut descendre.
Chambord est un peu grand pour moi. Bon, trop d'entretien.
Very much like finishing a round of golf and talking your way through the 18 holes again. These drivers get together to talk through the way that they were cornering and come up with some exaggerated stories, all the same.
C'est à droite. C'est là. Merci pour le renseignement. Je vous en prie.
Beautiful surroundings for beautiful cars. This really is a historic occasion.
Là, vous avez un cheval et nous avons des chevaux dans les voitures, je veux dire.
So in the VHC, it's the Lotus Elan of Nick Forêt that takes the lead. And in the GHI category, there's one vehicle that's been well prepped indeed, a Ferrari 308 G4 driven by Frédéric Puren with a little help from teammate Patrick Bornhauser. In the Run for Fun class, the Spanish Linwood team wins the first race in a 911 Porsche. But for many of the competitors, a little bit of mechanical savvy and lots of prepping will do wonders in the days to come.
On doit nettoyer.
3 mm. 3 mm. C'est 1 mm là? Oui, c'est 1 mm. 3 mm.
Ça c'est faux.
Journée galère, l'embrayage qui a déconné.
Michel Berger said, a bad day, the clutch isn't responding. We've had to change the cylinder head gasket on the side of the road. We had fuel trouble, but otherwise than that, everything's okay. No, really a bad day, and the mechanics only have 2.5 hours to make things right, because we would like to race tomorrow. However, in the evening, the drivers put that all behind them and head off to a local chateau for a lovely dinner and a presentation made by the people of Tours. So it's on to stage 2, and that's on 2 road specials, a long day. Danny Sullivan is the man to get things started, and we'll go on board with him. Well, this special really is a fast one, and in the GHI class, the Ferrari of Gothenburg and Bornhauser is very fast with an average speed of 150 kilometers an hour. Of the country roads, the Vigion track now welcomes the Tour convoy to town with some gorgeous spring weather, and it's time to get acquainted with the leaders overall so far. Frédéric Puren said, well, I bought this recently, this car, and it's running very, very well. Obviously, you could see that from our performance yesterday. We're now looking forward to trying it out on the Vigion track. So So the cars moved on to the Vigion track, and unsurprisingly, once again, it was to be the Göteborg-Bornhauser collective who dominated on the circuit, taking another win.
It's a silly problem, and yet it's a problem we can't get round unless...
Some friendly chat in the car park before they set off in the actual racing category. And we're to take this opportunity to jump on board in the car of Jean-Claude Androuet. Here we go with Jean-Claude. He didn't get off to a flyer there, but very quickly catching up with Bornhauser Ferrari. That, however, pulls away rather rapidly. Jean-Claude getting a little irate here as he was unable to pass on the inside. And some fairly Gallic gesticulations coming through in the cockpit. Out in front, as you can see, the Ferrari, unrivaled. And Jean-Claude had forgotten to turn his mobile off, so he got a little bit of feedback there. I'm not sure who he's expecting a call from, but he triumphantly punched the air as he eventually got past the man he felt had been rather unfairly holding him up on the track. Not all of the driving that spectacular, as you saw just up ahead. But it was to be another eventful day's racing at the Vigion track. Dominated, though, in the top category by Göteborg and Bornhauser. Well, the scenery during the different stages allows us to admire some of those beauties in a more pastoral setting. The trajectory chosen offers everyone lots of fun, especially as we near the beautiful Bordeaux region. The Puiscoin Saint-Emilion special ties things up for the day. Jean Regnotti with his Alpine loving every bit of it. Here is Regnotti. He finishes the 7.2 kilometers of racing with a 4-minute and 15-second lead from Jean-Claude Androuet's Porsche. That took us back about 10 years, back to the French Rally Championship. The show is a hot one. The drivers hell-bent on winning, giving it their all, and the crowds just lap it up. Well, that night on the docks in Bordeaux, the results coming quickly again, and in the VHC class, it's the team of Mr. and Mrs. Hugenholtz who take over in the lead. In the GHI class, it's still the team of Bornhauser and Göteborg in the lead. However, the Sucari Bacanelli team on its Ferrari 250 GT leads in the Run for Fun category. As for those unlucky chaps from the night before, they're getting over it. Paris now seeming light years away.
Much better though. Much better day than yesterday. Yes, we took it easy on the first stage, had a great race, and then went a bit faster on the second stage because we're getting a bit more confident with the car now. So yeah, it's a good day.
So another day's racing is completed with a lovely glass of bubbly, and then it's on to a chateau in the evening for some more wine tasting, and where better to do that than in the Saint-Emilion region of France. It's up to the members of the Wine Association Club to remit their diplomas, and Paloma Picasso, Jean Ragnotti and Patrick Peter are among the happy celebrators. Well, there's a rather unwelcome gatecrasher on day 3. It comes in the shape of rain. It's decided to stick around for the entire day, and for some drivers this type of weather is perfect for showing off. Such is the case, of course, for Jean Ragnotti, with a lovely version of Singing in the Rain.
Donc vous êtes gentil, vous décalez toute cette zone-là. Quand ça part en zigzag, ça, vous allez partir avec.
The big cars are the ones to go off first, though. We'll just have a little wait before Ragnotti comes on the screen. I promise you, it's well worth the wait. Here he is, and we jump on board with him straight away. And Jean Ragnotti, not a modest man, straight in to showing off. Well, for others, each day brings its own lot of problems, all of which are different and complex. Today, it's Pierre de Toisy's turn when his windshield wipers disappear. Luckily, the Corvette V8 engine is still raring to go. The Chateau de Benoît Special is won by the duo Godeberg-Bornhauser. Once again, they come home in front of both Ragnotti and Androuet. Whilst crossing the finish line on the Nogaro track, the drivers check out the weather conditions. They seem particularly gruesome.
des conditions qu'on peut qualifier d'aquatiques, effectivement.
Well, it's like a water park out there. Since our car's a prototype, there's just as much water inside the car as outside. It sure spices things up a bit. Well, those racing with a convertible have the hardest time, obviously, but they're used to it and know how to ride through a storm. John Wanty said, well, you don't want to be scared of water here, but otherwise the car's very nice. It's running well, no problems yet, nothing at all. It's just a matter of personal comfort, but we're used to this. The hardest part's getting the car started.
I like the rain. I'm from England and we get a lot of it.
Should be an advantage.
Here's George Schieber saying, well, he reckons that it's going to be an advantage to be in his Lotus Elan because it's a very light car. However, it's very slippery and so it's not going to be easy to race at all. Well, he could say very slippery again. Well, we're at it. Jean Ragnotti tries to get his little Alpine number into the lead right from the start. Check out this beginning. Straight up the middle, some real talent from Ragnotti, and we'll jump on board with him for a little bit of this lap. Unfortunately for the wee man, he can't do anything to beat the leaders and their Ferrari Group 4 308 GTB. Nor can he oust Bernard Moreau and Philippe Lipski, who managed to hoist their 911 into 4th place in the overall GHI standings. Once again, some enthusiastic driving from these wonderful old cars. And despite the very tricky conditions, nothing too spectacular in the way of crashes during the race.
C'est de rester sur la piste.
Demioko said, well, the name of the game is to stay on the track. If we make it, if we give a good show, that'd be marvellous. Well, all of the competitors gave a good show. Let's just have a look at quite how good most of them did. On to the final special of the day, a trek up the steep Arez slope, and Jean Ragnotti gets some sweet tasting revenge while really pleasing the crowd, as only he knows how. For some of the others, just staying on the road is proving difficult enough. the heavier, bigger prototypes really struggling with the conditions. Coming into Carcassonne, though, in the VHC class, Hugenholtz confirms his first place without being able to distance himself. In the GHI class, the leading trio includes a Ferrari, an Alpine and a Porsche. Status quo with the first two, but Jean-Marc Lucot has managed to move his prototype to within 3 minutes of the leader. And back with the Run for Fun bunch. The leader changes every day. Today it's De Bernardi and Stigini in their Lamborghini Miura, who are partying on down. Some very wet competitors who tuck into the mum champagne at the end of the stage. However, spirits remain high. And as ever, there's some very witty banter in the car park.
Je l'ai pas mordu, hein.
Il va avoir le Special Award de la pluie belge.
Ah oui, c'est la combi de plongée.
On est habitués, nous, quand même. On était... Il pleut souvent, donc on est bien habitués.
This man saying, well, it was a really rainy, hard day today. And then asked whether there was a hole in the car, he said, of course there is, otherwise we'd be floating.
Ah oui, tout à fait. Ouais, sinon on flotterait, quoi.
Carrément, c'est le bateau.
Il suffit de voir le fond de mon pantalon.
So, several very, very wet competitors ending up in Carcassonne, but 3 days completed and they're all still in remarkably high spirits. Mark Schelcher said, well, today things went well during the special. It took us 5 minutes and 25 seconds, and I was told that was pretty good. In any case, things were fast, but they got very tricky on the downhill portion. But this little froggy hangs on with all his might.
C'était la plus dure, oui.
Bertrand Pierre asked, was it a tough round? He said, yeah, the toughest yet. We had it all. Tough conditions, traffic coming out of Bordeaux, and then the specials where you really had to hang on tight.
Des spéciales quand même avec des conditions où il fallait vraiment s'accrocher.
Well, you can tell that everybody had a tough time of it, and now they're all thinking about tomorrow. The leaders focusing on getting their cars started in the morning. Some of the co-drivers thinking about their evening meal. Olivier Charon was asked, well, how was it? And his response to that was very simple. He said, well, it was really, really tough. Terrible weather, a terrific special, but Mother Nature was working against us. It was tough, all right, the hardest round yet, but we've made it through to Carcassonne, so we're happy.
La plus longue je crois que c'est la plus longue de toutes les étapes qu'on ait faites. Enfin, on est à Carcassonne, on est content. Voilà.
And Claude Ruiz Picasso said, well, we've got some work ahead of us because we got trouble with the gearbox. So a rather more somber mood in the evening at dinner time, but that still allowed them plenty of time to sit down and tuck away excellent tucker and wine.
C'est Jésus. C'est lui. Demain, il marche sur l'eau. Déjà, il a marché aujourd'hui sur l'eau.
Il a réparé une voiture qui a brûlé.
J'espère que les faillots sont désamorcés, par contre. Parce que on est quand même toute la journée dans un espace restreint dans les voitures. Ça peut tenir dans...
Fingers were crossed for a far better day, but it had been a tough one on day 3. Now all they wanted to do was get a good night's sleep.
Merci. So have a good night and hope that Steve will bring counsel.
Well, the next morning, the rain had stopped right before the Salsignes Special. The ground was wet, but the atmosphere had changed a little. As they began to head towards the south of France, a few rays of sunshine emerged from behind the clouds. And this is what race director Jacques de Preste had to say.
Ils sont un petit peu en retard, mais je crois que
He said the guys are a little late, but I think the rain's to blame. You'll notice that we make sure everyone's nice and protected with helmets on and the hoods of the cars nailed down shut.
et que tous les capots soient verrouillés.
Eric Kuma has some trouble in the morning. Luckily, nothing serious. Some smoke seen, but no one ever figured out where it came from. They saw the problem out, however, and do get the car going again. And whilst we're waiting to rejoin them, here's a stroll in Mr. and Mrs. Hans Hugenholtz Lotus Elan. They're the current leaders in the VHC category and the potential overall winners of the Lissac Tour Auto. So let's sit back and enjoy a couple of minutes on board with this husband and wife duo. A ninth best time in this stage for this team, already 4-time winners of the event. Behind them, things are moving. 6th best time in the GH1 class was for Androuet. Once again, the Ferrari of Gothenburg and Bornhauser, who post the best time in their category. Well, now, the Albi track will be playing host to the second special. We're still on board the little Lotus Elan, which may not be as well suited as some other cars for this type of surface, but the team still manages to finish 45th on the day. And despite yet another flying start from Ragnotti that you saw there, it was to be the winners in the unavoidable Ferrari 308. Gotterberg and Bornhauser, the winners once again as they came home in front of Charles and Mountford's Ford GT40. Not all plain sailing, however. Hubert Fabry's Alpha TZ experienced some engine trouble and he went out in a spectacular blaze of smoke. But next up, it's the Sauveterre de Rougerou special. The town's gone all out to make the Tour feel at home. Now, even in the Run for Fun category, the level of racing is top-notch. The participants have chosen their own average speed, and the 6 fastest drivers in the special come away penalty-free. That is talking about talent. Back with the competition category, it's a totally different story, and the winding and finally dry roads give some newfound wings to most of the participants' vehicles. Sometimes, maybe just a little too much wing. And so in Montpellier that evening, the results come quickly. Nothing changes in the competition category, but for the Run for Fun drivers, there's a new international accent, with a Swiss team in a Porsche in front, Italians in their Lamborghini in second, and some Germans in a serene British Jaguar in third. A quiet end to the penultimate day's racing as drivers begin to feel the stress of driving at this speed for this long. The first stage of the last day kicks off in the city of Le Denon, and to everyone's delight, the sun's back. We're headed for a few laps around the track with Jean-Pierre Lecoux on board his Ford GT40. Having kicked things off way back on the starting grid, the French driver makes real progress. Jean Ragnotti won't be able to beat him, coming home in 8th place. Engine trouble just won't let him fight it out amongst the leaders. And it's Ludovic Caron's superb number 15 AC Cobra, entered in the VHC class, which wins this stage in front of the leaders in the GHI standings and their Ferrari 308.
That's what you get for all your dreams. Never fall in love, never fall in love again. Don't tell me what it's all, 'cause I've been.
The last track stage is immediately followed by the last road special through the city of Valiguière. And here again, the leaders in the GHI class pull through, nailing the lead in the overall. Bernard Moreau does manage to hold on to 4th place, but no one can stop the Ferrari out in front. And now, a short ferry trip away, the convoy heads towards Saint-Tropez. After 2,000 kilometers, we witnessed the crowning of a team which has already won the Spanish Tour. It seems like we haven't heard the last of them.
Félicitations. De la part d'Hermès. Merci beaucoup. Ah oui.